We're going to make the media pay for what they did to me. I can't go out into public. I can't go to the store. It's hard for me to go anywhere without security. I don't think I'll ever be able to work or get a job because I'm afraid an employer may not hire me.
In an exclusive interview with Tucker Carlson, Kyle Rittenhouse is vowing to take legal action against those who labeled him a white supremacist. Fox and Friends Weekend co-host Will Cain joins us now to react. Good morning to you, Will.
Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. Does he have a case?
I think yes, Kyle Rittenhouse does have a case. He has said, by the way, that Johnny Depp's victory last week in his defamation case has fueled him, has inspired him. We also look at the success of Nick Sandmann, who filed a lawsuit, and now Kyle Rittenhouse employs the very same attorney against a whole host of media organizations, from the Washington Post and New York Times to CNN. And now here comes Kyle Rittenhouse.
Right. So just a reminder, folks, that when you see this talking point coming from the left, it's being instinctively broadcast, cheered on, and encouraged from the right. Keep in mind also that Kyle Rittenhouse has said that he's going to sue Whoopi Goldberg and everyone under the sun. And then he came out and said that that would take too much time and resources, which is correct. I mean, can you imagine the lawyers this guy would need to expect to win a defamation case against CNN? I'm just saying. For simply reporting. I mean, come on, guy. Then he said he was enrolled in Texas A&M, which turned out to also be untrue. He said he was going to be a student anyway, which that clearly sets precedent for not telling the truth, which, as we saw in the Depp Heard case, can sway a jury's opinion. And speaking of which, so last week we talked about Me Too founder Tanara Burke's comments decrying verdicts in these trials as a testimonial, essentially, as to whether or not the movement is moving forward or the movement is moving backwards. Don't take my word for it.
Like, this is not what the movement is. It's not sustainable to rely on the verdicts from these various trials to define what the movement is. So when you get the verdict that you want, the movement is working, and when you don't get the verdict you want, the movement is a failure. We have been socialized and trained to think about nothing but crime and punishment, law and order, when we should be thinking about harm and harm reduction, right? So we have to completely reimagine how we have been trained to think about what accountability looks like in this country and what justice looks like in this country. We cannot get real accountability and justice from the current systems that are in place in the United States. It's just not possible. We have seen it, we have tried and tried and tried and tried and failed. And so to indict a whole movement based on the outcomes of any of these cases does not make sense, because that's not, the movement wasn't built on these cases. This movement started far beyond, and I'm not talking about the Me Too movement, I'm talking about the survivor justice movement, because that's what this is. Me Too, I'm talking about the Me Too I started, and even Me Too, hashtag Me Too, all of that comes out of a movement that is decades old, that is about justice for survivors of sexual violence. And you cannot predicate that on the outcome of anybody's trial, because this whole system does not work. And we have plenty of evidence of that. And that's what I wanted people to refocus on. It is really not sustainable for any survivor, any leader, any ally, anybody who really wants to see progress in this movement, to predicate our progress on the outcome of anybody's trial.
But that isn't stopping representatives of Amber Heard from saying as such, and it isn't stopping other radicals from supporting these kinds of damaging testimonies who are, in effect, encouraging silence. But encouraging silence isn't something that they want to talk about because it goes against their narrative, of course. That said, I'm bringing up this case, hopefully, one last time for the sake of not taking sides. As I said, I feel like I'm literally the only person to not take a side. But as I was scrolling around the newsverse, I caught a clip of Amber Heard speaking on the Today Show that really, that I can solidly relate to. And I'd like to share that with you.
I don't care what one thinks about me or what judgments you want to make about what happened in the privacy of my own home and my marriage behind closed doors. I don't presume the average person should know those things, and so I don't take it personally. But even somebody who is sure I'm deserving of all this hate and vitriol, even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation. You cannot tell me that you think that this has been fair.
100%. And like I say, I feel every single bit of this in my soul, not only because of the hypocrisy that I've seen in the last several months regarding intersectionality and judgment regarding these celebrity couples, not only because she's basically echoing my sentiments regarding a different topic and the heat that I've gotten for speaking up, but especially because of the smear job that was orchestrated against her by the right and by organizations like the Daily Wire, who were reported to have spent thousands on ads and posts from their own troll farms, and from the people who were blind or simple enough to fall for it. The people who were blind or simple enough to fall for the opposition argument. The average person shouldn't have much more of an opinion than they were both toxic in their relationship based on the evidence that was given. But that is just never going to be enough for some. Look, my heart goes out to anyone in this kind of a situation, simply because in this case, they both still do not seem to fully understand that they both are a problem. Then again, the same can be said for those who have decided that there is a side to be taken, which is especially embarrassing for those on the left, because reason should always beat out bias. So I guess I have a side to take. Just like Jada Pinkett Smith, I would take Amber Heard's side any day against her supporters or her handlers, but that, again, is something that not everyone wants to talk about either. And how very strange for those folks.